Hello. Okay, so this is the 5th time we have started this stream. It has been a headache, but we have figured it out. The audio finally has been figured out. This audio, to begin this stream, be exploring SideFX labs. SideFX lab tools. SideFX lab tools. So let me welcome you to the stream. If you're not in class, there are people doing the final projects right now, but I really needed to get this out so that people can learn or be impressed or be intimidated, whichever you choose. But now we begin. A little intro to SideFX Labs, which is part of Houdini. This is their homepage. As you can tell already, they are glazing themselves. The SideFX Lab tools wrap up and release common workflows and create tight integrations with software you already use every day. The tools are developed outside the regular Houdini development cycle, which makes them more accessible for testing and feedback. Okay, it's for artists. As you know or may not know, SideFX Houdini is a very technical software. It has a lot of things happening behind the scene that not exactly important to an artist. So hence, these tools, SideFX Labs is committed to developing tools that empower artists and help them reach their goals more efficiently. Discover our diverse range of tools across various categories. Okay, we can explore this so you can see what's happening in the SideFX Lab side of things, so you can have an idea. While that loads, what I want to get into today is what we're going to be doing in SideFX Labs. Today, what we're going to be exploring today is two things. The labs building generator. We're going to get to that. And the tree gen, which is way down here. Labs tree branch generator, lab tree branch placer, labs tree controller. So it's a tree generator, it creates trees. So those are the two things we're going to be exploring today. As you can see, there are a lot of stuff, but don't get too excited or don't get intimidated. So what you're gonna learn, this labs. So this is what is happening with labs. What I wanted to check out is this. Pretty interesting, right? Creates awesome stuff. I like this scene. Looks like it was created with building generator and instancer. It creates instance of this building, but that's not important. What else? I want something to do with what we want to create. Tree tools. So these are trees that are generated by SideFX Houdini. Okay, it can create all sorts of stuff, not just trees. Anything that grows, Labs tree generator can create, and you can have fun. So this is what we're gonna be exploring today. What else? The building generator. This is just basically it. Okay. This is what it does. we're not gonna get too detailed into this because this is a hell of a workload. It's a lot of work, but we're gonna get into building the buildings themselves, just the buildings, and generating different kinds of buildings and different kinds of heights. Yeah, this is what we're gonna be getting into today. Okay, so now that we have an overview, let's start with the SideFX TreeGen. Let's jump in directly into the TreeGen suite. So as usual, the first thing you do, tab and create a geometry. This is tradition now. It's going to be a tradition. Tab, geo. But another step, we're going to create a light. We're going to need to illuminate our environment here. Okay, we can create an environment light. That's a dome light if we are doing Maya, or you can just create a simple light, and there it is. And we're gonna position it somewhere off center. So let's do that. Let's position this somewhere off center, like so. We're gonna increase the intensity, but for now let's keep it that way. Secondly, I want to open Epic. There's a material I want to import, and that is while that loads, that is a back material. We'll only install a back material, so we're gonna go to fab and wait for it to load. Because I'm streaming, things are gonna be a little slow. I'm streaming in, so browse that, and we're gonna go rotation. It's not exporting to Houdini. It's supposed to be able to export to Houdini, but I'll select the format and I'll get GLTF or just texture set. Let me search how to export materials from fab to Houdini. Say to experiment from Pixel 5 Megascans to Houdini, you download the texture maps. Manual. We have to do this manually. Okay, fine. Gonna download that. Settings, Epic's launcher, fab library. Okay, cool. Where is it? Fab library, although there. So this is gonna be where the materials are. Sucks for me, but I'll keep that in mind while I create the materials. But now that we have a back material that we like, which is this, because it has that nice detail, you know what I mean, that displacement feature. Okay, now let's proceed to creating our tree. We jump into Geo now that we have, and we're gonna do tab TreeGen, and we're gonna create a simple yeah, that's Gaia. It's called Gaia for now, or Gaia. Everything that has to do with this is Gaia is for creating terrain. It's just by mistake. Okay, tab TreeGen. Gaia is something else. That, or it may highlight it too by mistake. Okay, so we're gonna create tree branch generator. Let's place here, and then tab tree controller tree trunk generator. Okay, so that's where we start. Let's maybe get rid of this, and then we start with this. This is a tree trunk, and we go back out. It seems like this light of ours is gonna be needed to stay here. I'm gonna activate light so that it can illuminate the scene, and then I'm gonna intensity to 100. I can create a HDRI. Wait, is this working? Oh, there. But it's not illuminating my scene properly. But that's another problem. I'm gonna deal with that later. I need to check if this has normals. I'll give it normals and see where the normals are pointing. Good, the normals are pointing in the right direction. Now, let me break that. I don't need that. I need to go back and make sure this light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's supposed to illuminate my right. There, okay, I'm gonna use a different light, a sun. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Okay, now this is our branch. Don't mind, let me just switch off the lights so you can see it for what it is. Don't worry, let's delete that. So that is our branch, our basic first branch. It's usually very basic. So the things you're gonna see here, this general, this controls the height of the branch. Okay, this controls the radius of the branch, how big the branch is gonna be, and this ramp controls how the branch is gonna look at different points. You can. This is the bottom of the branch. This is the middle of the branch. This is the top of the branch. You can control how it looks like from every side. So let's create a simple weird plant. We're gonna make this way and this way. I'm gonna experiment. I have to say this is so much easier on Houdini 21 than it is on any other Houdini. Yeah, you can see the UVs are already unwrapped. It's pretty good. So you don't have to stress yourself about so much with lab tools because it comes already out of box. It looks good and you'll enjoy it. So tropism, let me share about tropism. It's a certain property that plants have. The turning of all or part of an organism in a particular direction in response to an external stimulus. So this happens a lot in plants. Plants tend to grow towards light. That is phototropism. It's growing towards light. It tends to grow away from gravity. That is called gravitotropism. Gravitropism. That's when gravitropism is a coordinated process of differential growth by plants in response to gravity. Okay, and then there's another type of tropism. There's phototropism, gravitropism, bigmotropism. Bigmotropism is about touch, how it responds to touch. You know, plants that grow around other plants, there are plants that are thigmotropic towards touch, the turning or bending of a plant or other organism in response to touch stimulus. So there's touch, there's light, and there's gravity, and there's one more. I think there's one more. I hope I know this one more. I don't know it all off out of my head. Okay, it's just, that's it. We'll see more of the tropisms in the branches. For now, we're just controlling the trunk. So here in the trunk shape, we can control how the plant looks like at the bottom, right? We can use this to control how the plant looks like at the base, how the roots look like. We can reduce and increase and increase. We can increase and reduce. We can add noise. We can position how far up the tree it goes, you know. Yeah, so you can create your own crazy things here with your own crazy plants, right? So that's a simple trunk. Noise, so this controls how the plant is gonna grow. Don't mind it. I won't use it a lot, but you can see how it's behaving. There's that noise, the line noise. In this tab now, in order to create this trunk, there's a line. That is the line. So the line creates the trunk. It informs how this trunk is gonna be created. So then to disconnect this, you can shake it like that. I'm gonna shake it like that to disconnect it. And then this is the mesh. So there's a line and a mesh. So this line is just an output to tell you this line helped create this mesh. So we can now, let's go to the line, right? And now let's change that. We can see the line in there that creates the mesh, and then we can enable and see it becomes straight. We can reduce how much noise is affecting it. What is the frequency, right? Step size, don't worry about step size. You can also secondary noise. This is the noise that affects it. Secondary, there are two kinds of noises and it affect in different places. And then the intensity ramp, just how serious is it from either point. You see from the bottom, there's not much intensity, but we can increase the intensity at the bottom. This is the bottom of the branch. This is the top. This represents the top of the branch. You can reduce it to somewhere there. So yeah. So let's see how that looks like. This is what it looks like. We're not doing much. That is the line noise. Now let's talk about the mesh noise. The mesh noise is already activated, as you can see. It just affects the mesh that has been created of the trunk. You can control how much noise you want it. What type of noise you want to affect it. Just like that. Intensity. Lack of it. And that's it. That's an example of what to expect. So meshing, this controls how it's meshed. As you can see here, there's no mesh at the bottom, right? You can also do the same for the top. I don't like this. I don't like this part. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say none, and boom, there's none, right? So it's just settings now. We're just messing with settings. We can increase the resolution. Basically, we want to increase how many subdivisions there are, or decrease in order to make it more detailed, right? Maybe let's say our texture here definitely has displacement. You're gonna need a lot of subdivisions, right? But not right now. We're not gonna get into that. Oh, but this is also gonna create a problem down the road, but right now we're gonna keep it simple like that, like so. You can refine it, don't worry. I don't know what that does, but as you can see, you can increase the subdivisions to the side. The subdivisions, this, we reduce it, it increases the number of sides there are, right? We increase it, it reduces. So the bigger the number, the less the subdivisions. The less the number, the more the subdivisions are. So notice, you're gonna notice this as you work with Houdini. Some big numbers represent more subdivisions. Smaller numbers increase, it represents bigger subdivisions. So it's confusing that way, but as you go on, you learn. So that's it so far for the resolution. Let me revert this to default. Revert to defaults. Revert to defaults. This one was default, and this one revert to defaults, so that I can work with the default. Good. Let me get rid of this now. Now let's create the branches. Tab, tree, and we're gonna be branch generator, right? So we connect the mesh, and then we connect our line, right? Curve input, and there we go. We have branches on our plants. Same thing. You get general, tropism, noise, meshing, resolution, displacement, and visualization. You can increase this and make it whatever color you want, right? I don't know why it's not visualizing, but whatever, we're gonna keep it that way with the UV. So what I want to remove, meshing. I want to remove the top. Let's see if the top caps are there. I don't want no top caps, end caps in this place, because it's just more stuff occupying your space. Resolution, noise, we can measure noise. I use Palin. I'll reduce this, right? Okay, I don't need Palin. Let's keep it alligator. Now this is where I'm gonna do something interesting, because I don't want my branches to just be straight whatever, right? I want them to be interesting. I want them to have interesting, want it to look interesting, if you know what I mean, right? Right. That's not interesting enough, but let's step away from that. Now here is where most of the work, when you're doing when you're working with this, when you're working with branches, is gonna be bending towards parent. No, I want it to bend away from the parent. The parent is this main branch, the main trunk, this one, this. I want it to bend away. You can have it bend towards or away, but I want it away. You can control just how far it's bending away, in terms of how far here, like here, this controls here, how far away is it bending from the main, and then how far here is it bending away. So you get it. And then let's talk gravitropism. As you can see, it may bend already. Nikki's, if I increase this is X, Y, Z, right? Y is up, as you can see here. Yeah, Y is up. So X, Y controls the side that is you want it to go, the direction of gravity. So let's switch that. I've said gravity is going up. Now gravity, the force of gravity is going up, so it's bending towards up. But that's not true. Let's work with one. This is saying the force of gravity is negative 0.1, which is the default, which is basically 10. in terms of gravity. So let's take that to -1 and see what that looks like. So it pushes all of it, will increase the strength of gravity, which pushes the plant towards gravity. But that's not what we want to work with. We're gonna leave it at default because we're not working with gravity. We are working with phototropism. And phototropism here, it's saying it's moving in a certain direction, that the source of light is in a certain direction, which is to a degree true, but no, we don't have shadows here, so we're gonna keep it at 1, and then we're gonna increase the strength, right? And then we're gonna control just how powerful that strength is. As you can see, like some of the things we're working with here, they change. So they kind of change the same thing. So, but don't get confused over that. We're not gonna touch this because there's nothing to touch. Digmotropism. It's tropism towards touch. Let me show you. Let me just give you an example. Tab. Let's create tab, box and polygon mesh. It's cool, right? And then we're gonna create digmotropism. We're gonna enable that, and then we're gonna click this. Nope. We're gonna click this box. Accept. So it's moving towards the box. Now let's move our box. Gonna move our box. Come on. Let's move our box to somewhere there. Yeah. Actually, no. Let me not use edit. Let me just move it manually. Let me just move it manually. You see that? That is digmotropism. You can see that it is affecting my tree branch. So if I have a building and it was supposed to affect it, it's gonna be affecting my plant. So I can control how things behave around my box over here as I scale it up. So it's gonna move in whatever direction I want it to move, and it's gonna be interacting. So you can make really interesting stuff. Yeah, you can make, maybe the plant is trying to enclose itself on a diamond, a glowing diamond, and it's growing around it, and you can do pretty interesting stuff without even making a tree. So let me show you one more thing. Let's increase, now that we've touched digmotropism, let's increase. So this is where we are going to control the length of my branches. I want my branches to be long. Okay, I want them to be long. Let's say 2. Right? Right. You can see now. Let's go 1.3. You can see how it's behaving, right? This is my tree now, and let's see how my box is gonna behave when we increase. Oh wait, I haven't set the digmotropism to max. Right. Let's take this to 10. Ooh, what did it do? I don't know what happened. Okay, let's take it to -1. I don't know what's happening now. It's supposed to grow all around my box. Yeah, let's stick to 1. Oh, there. Let's keep it that way. I don't know how to mess with that setting, but as you can see, it's growing around my box over here. So you can have a lot of interesting stuff happening. Let me increase it here and here. It's growing around my box. Let's tab merge and see what that looks like. So there's the tree growing around my box. Yeah, I can actually, let's tab and create sphere polygons. We're gonna make them quadrilaterals. Yeah, now let's move it up and increase its size. Okay, so that is my sphere. I want to reduce the rows and columns. I want it to be more interesting, right? More like that. Okay. Interesting shape. And then after that, we're gonna use this as our thigmotropic source. We're gonna come here and we're gonna do this sphere, except yeah, it's not as big as I want it to be. Let's scale it up. Uniform scale. So that's what it does. So there. Yeah? Yeah. It's responding to the plant. So that is thigmotropism for you. But let's continue. Let us continue. Now, the thing about creating branches is now we need to create more branches. We've created the main branches, and let me reduce the thickness of these branches. General. Let's reduce the thickness of these branches. I don't like how thick they are, especially at the bottom. Radius. I'm gonna reduce the radius to something more uniform, like that, so that it can be more interesting. This is placement. You can increase the number of branches, like right now there are 8. We can also control how high the branches appear. So right now you can see inaanza huku chini, sindio? Here, but I don't want it there. I want it somewhere else. So I can do this. I can increase it even higher. Let me share this. I forgot to share this stream.
Never seen a lot of words.
I forgot to share this stream. Okay, cool. I'm also gonna change just how far this trunk shape starts, right? I want to control where it starts. Is it here? Yeah, let's say there, so that it doesn't morph weirdly into the plant. And also I want to increase the thickness here. Yeah, you can see it affects also the thickness of the branches, because as you go up, it inherits, the branches inherit the thickness of the rest of the branches. So don't feel pressure about that. Now we move on. Control C, Control V. We create a new set of branches. Voila. Let it calculate. So there it is. These are the branches before we place the leaves. Okay. So this is what it looks like inside the tree branch generator. As you can see, it's very, very technical. If you did this on your own, it'll take a hell of a while. Hence, lab tools. So there. Now now that we are here, we're gonna reduce the length. Slightly, and then we're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna go to tropism, and we're gonna activate our zygmotropism. It's supposed to be affecting it. Is it affecting the branches? Let's see. Yes, it is affecting the branches. Let's merge this and this. Yeah, the branches have been affected, so it's growing around our cube there. Okay, awesome. So the branches are also getting affected. So we continue. So we have a couple of branches. We're gonna increase the length here. I want to increase them so that they can connect. So we can connect the length. Yeah. Now you'll notice that they're kind of growing weirdly, and it's offsetting the weight over here. That's not natural, so we're gonna, but we don't have to be going for natural, so we're gonna go and control the placement, and we're gonna reduce the placement. We're gonna bring this down to that level. Okay, and then we're gonna give it some more phototropism. We're gonna increase the strength. Yeah, awesome. Now it's becoming more of a tree. Yeah, awesome. Now we're gonna do one more branching. We're gonna copy that. The reason I copy is so I can also inherit what is happening at the top. Cool. And load. Now it's becoming bigger, real big, real big. There is our tree. You can see it's now really forming around our, yeah, you know, it's starting to grow around our sphere, so this can be interesting. So let's continue. We are nesting the branches. Now we can put the leaves. Let's create the leaf. Now we can do this. Tab, leaf, simple leaf, right there. So what does this look like? Let's go and look at the leaf. So this is a basic leaf. Yeah, we can now start controlling its shape. We can make it whatever shape we want. I don't know what this does. Oh, folding. So folding is folding in that direction, but it doesn't affect it. I don't know why it doesn't affect. Let's see, maybe two. Doesn't matter. doesn't give me what I want. You can increase its scale. Seed, you can define just how well your leaf is gonna be. Let's see, you can segment them. Leaf size, can make it big or small. Let's go with some big leaves, see what that looks like. And length, you can decide it's gonna be long or short. Let's give it something unique. Width, you know, kind of weird leaves. And then bias. I don't know what this does. Oh, there we go. It controls how far. No. The X bias controls how far from the center this stuff is gonna affect it. So let's see. See that? Let me change the color here to something more, you know, weird, so you can see what happens. You know, you can make this a darker version of green, really dark. You can also make another color. See how it's controlling towards the end of the Houdini. So this represents here, this represents here, this side represents here. So let me move this back, and then you can notice here, and then that. Let me try and control. You can control just how your leaf is gonna look. It's kind of a Yep. Now let me control the X bias so that I can there we go. Okay, now I understand it, but what I do not understand is this shape. Oh, there we go. I was wrong. I have to do it like this. Let's see what happens when I do one. Yeah. So that is a cool leaf, right? Yeah, it's a cool leaf. Now let's tab leaf tree leaf generator. Cool. We connect our branches, including the curve input for the branches, and then we connect our leaf, right? And connect it, and then we'll give it time to calculate. Let it calculate. It's done. God damn it. So that is our tree. We continue. These are the leaves. As you can see, they have been placed in the latest branch. The latest branch, which is not awesome. So what we're gonna do is disconnect this, and then we're gonna create tab trunk, and we're gonna connect this trunk to this leaf generator. Right now, what is the idea with this? The idea is quite simple. I want to create a place where my leaves are gonna be placed, right? And then I'm gonna reduce trunk shape, enable roots. No, I'm gonna do noise. We're gonna remove all the noise, and then we're gonna machine resolution none, resolution, right? Yeah, we want it simple. Where did it go? There you are. Let's compare that to our tree. Let's make it a little longer. Here. Fine. Then just a little longer. Just a little longer. 0.7. Right. The radius remains the same. I'm gonna try and make it a little like that. Then we're gonna reduce the size of our leaf here, right? So, and then we're gonna control the size of the leaf. First, we're gonna orient it. We don't need to orient it. We're gonna enable this. It's gonna be bend along. Okay, it's not bending. God damn it. We're gonna enable phototropism. Don't worry, this doesn't affect it because it's not yet placed. And then general, we're gonna control the scale. Now the scale right now is not, we're gonna go to hill, and then we're gonna move this and increase this. Actually it's the other way around. Increase this. And then like that, something like that. And then we're gonna bend this trunk shape. We want to bend. Where's bending? Okay, we're gonna have to just use line noise, and we're gonna reduce the intensity. And then we're gonna increase the resolution slightly. Actually, it's not the resolution, it's the subdivision. No. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And then we're gonna control the placement of these leaves. I can't control the placement of these leaves. Okay, that's nice. Let's increase the roughness. I'll get to know. Okay, fine. Let's tab branch generator. Tree branch generator. Oh, fuck. Tab tree branch generator. Tree branch generator. So yeah. Now this we're gonna do the same because I want to reduce the machine noise. Machine resolution, resolution. Tropism. Yeah, something like that. Resolution. Yeah. Don't mind it. Yes. There. It's not completely. I'll just disable that. Nope. It's still giving me the same problem. It's not connecting, so I'll just disable it. Okay, this is exhausting. So now let's connect this. Good. That is our leaf for our tree. And then we're gonna do one more thing. Trap tree. Labs. Then we're gonna connect this and this, and then connect, and then do that and wait, and hopefully it doesn't crash, because if it does, that would be a shame. We are waiting. Let me close this because we don't need any more RAM getting consumed. And now we wait in horror. So we're gonna be watching here. It's cooking. Let it cook. We can escape this, but I want this to keep going. I've made this tree impossibly huge. Check the RAM.